Now it's doing it.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Well.
Hey there, listeners. Today we're back with another episode of A Sex Talk with me, Taffy. Today I have with me someone super important in the community of Northwest Arkansas's drag scene, gay scene, LGBTQ scene, and all the scenes. And I'm gonna go ahead and let her introduce herself real quick.
Okay. Well, I am Patty Johnson by day. By night, I can fly under the alias of Lady Kakes Monroe. And then I also adopted a nun persona, a drag nun persona, who is Sister Anaphylaxis. So there are a few different ladies who live inside of me. Hold on 2 seconds.
Bless
Two at a time.
Blast the dust.
Yeah, 2 at a time. It has to be. And I also kind of have myself involved in the kink community a little bit, and okay. I run under another alias for that, but we won't share that one this round.
Fair.
Yeah.
So to get the podcast rolling, I wanted to talk about the sisterhood and whatnot, and kind of dive into that and what you do for the sisterhood, what they do for you, what they do for the community, and those kind of things.
Okay. Well, that's going to be a long one. So the Sisterhood is an organization. It's the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. It started in San Francisco, California on an Easter Sunday back in 1979. So it's 41 years, approximately 41 to 2 years old almost.
Okay.
2, the meaning of life. That's right. This last year. Sorry, COVID threw everything off. But we are an order of drag nuns that started in the height of the AIDS epidemic when men were being thrown out of their apartments, out of their homes, and pretty much abandoned in their hours of need. And when they wanted help from, let's say, the church or their families that they had been dedicated to most of their life, they were finding themselves gravely out of favor of these people in their, and so they needed help. And that's when the sisters took up funds, took them in, went to hospitals, fed them, did things to raise money, to raise awareness. One of those being a pamphlet called Play Safe. And it was dedicated to educating gay men back in the day about, because there was a lot of misinformation about HIV and AIDS back in the day.
Oh boy, was there.
Oh, there was so much misinformation. I mean, for a while they called it gay cancer. The testing for it was...
People were afraid to touch other people with it.
Right. People were afraid to touch other people with it because of the liver spots and different things. That they didn't know how it was contracted necessarily in the first few years, or really in the first 5 years, I think it was, until 83, just about, when they figured it out. And it had been going since 77, so the first case had been found in 77, really.
Okay.
But it, all these people were suffering, and these wonderful men who had dressed up just on an Easter Sunday on a whim. These 6 wonderful men, bearded and everything, had these leftover costumes from The Sound of Music, and one of them decided that they should all go out dressed up as nuns and just frolic through the Castro district of San Francisco. And it changed thousands and thousands of people's lives. Probably hundreds of thousands, because these nuns helped people in their final hours. These nuns are all scattered now around the globe. We have nuns in Poland and Australia and, you know, the Netherlands, and we've got them in South America and all over, I mean, just all over the world. There are people just like my little order here in Northwest Arkansas that I get to be a part of, and my sisters.
Now, who started the order here in Arkansas, or when did it start?
Well, okay, so it started back in 2016.
Okay, I was going to say it's been around for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, it's been around since 2016, just our chapter. And that's when we were a novice house, which means we were like little babies.
Yeah.
And we had to be taught like how to be good nuns and what to say and the things to do so that we could help our community in the best, so we could serve our community in the best ways possible. And I mean, we have nuns from all over that we get to learn these wonderful life lessons from, and that's what's so amazing is we're all the same, yet we all are learning and growing together and doing things for an order that constantly changes. I mean, in the beginning we were, you know, the gay men helping other gay, but now we're just an order of queer, lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, you name it. I mean, like, it spans. We have straight nuns, we have gay nuns, we have mothers, daughters, brothers, just amazing people from all over that offer advice and do things for their communities that we get to learn from, because we're on we have a service like that, a phone service that we get to meet with each other once a month and talk to, or the heads of each house get to meet with each other.
So like a Zoom call kind of, or
it's kind of like that, yeah. Okay. It's a big Zoom call with 70 some odd nuns from North America. Okay. So the North America, Canada, and the United States, we all converse once a month. Okay. On phone calls and get to learn from one another. It's pretty amazing. And I have been fortunate enough to be a part of it since the beginning. Okay. So
are you the head of the order here?
I am the abbess of our house, which is the like person who runs the meetings. But I don't consider myself any more than one of the other sisters. We all have kind of the same say in our house. They make me run the meetings, yes, but that doesn't mean I get any more say than anybody else in the house.
Like, Patty,
they can override me. They can override me. They literally are like, no, we're not doing that. And I have to just be like, okay.
So how many people are in the group here?
In our order, there are 8 right now. Currently. Okay. And we fluctuate, but we really have maintained 8 for many years. Okay. We have maintained around 8 to 10 for at least 5 years.
And do y'all still go by the Sisterhood of Hillbilly Harlots?
We are the Sisters of We are the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, the Abbey of Hillbilly Harlots.
That's what I was thinking. Okay.
So our charter's name is the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, and that's who we charter our abbey's house through. So we are the Abbey of Hillbilly Harlots. And if we go to, like, if you go to a different city, like Texas, any of the houses in Texas, or like Tennessee, for instance, they're the Music City Sisters, because, you know, Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah. And then you have the City of Fountain Sisters in Kansas City, and the Bread Basket Sisters in Canada, and just...
I still think our name wins.
We really do like our name, and it kind of is a conglomeration of things that came from our roller skating derby. I used to be the mascot for our roller skating derby, and they were well, in the
for
first
Fayetteville?
Yes, for the first few years when we had 2 teams, the Hardwood Harlots and the Killbillies. I just thought that those girls were
this.
really funny, and they came up with these really funny names. And I thought the Hillbilly Harlots sounded pretty funny. And when we were deciding on names, there were a couple of things that came up, but we just kept gravitating back towards Hillbilly Harlots because it was, it was funny and it was cute, and it should represent the area in which you're from.
Oh, yeah.
And so for us, choosing hillbilly, choosing the trucker hats as our coronets, like,
because it's so fun. I'll see y'all out on Dixon Street every once in a while, and I'm like, oh, there they are.
We don't look like regular nuns. We look a lot more hillbilly than nun, ever.
Yeah.
We definitely do, especially in the short shorts and the trucker hats.
So do other sisterhoods in different places wear different outfits based on their areas?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Yes. And a lot more of them dress a lot more nun-like than we do. We definitely have a more laxed dress code than most houses. When we were building our house, like I said, I had some say in things, but I can be the leader but not the decider of everything.
Yeah.
And that's what's beautiful, is everybody gets to have a little word. And we all chose together that, we didn't really want to have a whole bunch of restrictions on outfits. We really liked fishnets and shorts, and we like going out in tank tops. And it's hot in Arkansas weather. We don't want to wear robes. And,
it is wet outside right now, and it is not great.
We don't mind wearing bibs and habits and coronets, and we don't mind calling our trucker hats coronets when we put veils on them. But we know deep down that, like, some of the other sisters have more elaborate looking, more Catholic looking stuff.
Yeah.
We really lean harder into the hillbilly stuff.
But also, especially, like, I feel like it fits really well for Arkansas, because when you say Arkansas, you don't really think Catholic.
Right.
You think a lot more Baptist.
Right.
Or
and that's kind of
Methodist
like,
or something, and I feel like that fits really well too.
That is the base of our house has probably been more inundated with Baptist or just that kind of Protestant than the Catholicism that we are imitating in some form. But we also have one sister who's Muslim, which we find really fun and funny, and we have defended her right to wear the hijab and to go out with us looking more Islamic than looking Protestant or Catholic, and we will stand behind her, because ultimately, if we're going to make fun of one religion, we're going to make fun of all of them.
Yeah.
And that's only fair. And that's the way we see it.
Is this person a new person in the group?
No, they have been there since the beginning.
Really? I don't think I've ever seen them out.
They don't come out a lot.
Fair.
And part of that is sometimes that they do get a lot of flack, and then sometimes when they come out, they don't wear the hijab. They wear the more hillbilly look and stuff like that. They don't necessarily have to always wear Catholic or Protestant or religious looking clothing. That's kind of the beauty of our house, is we do really lean more into the hillbilly aspect than anything. But we celebrate when she does want to come out and wear the hijab, because we do think it's, fair enough. If we're going to make fun of one, why don't make fun of all of them? Yeah.
So then what kind of things do y'all do for the community through the sisterhood?
So one of the things that our house in particular does, we like to pass out condoms. We like to elevate.
I've gotten a few of those.
Yeah. We like to elevate certain communities in our area that necessarily wouldn't otherwise have a lot of togetherness time or a lot of a voice or something. And what we have done in the past is like do things for the bear community or certain children's groups. I mean, we'll tone down the hillbilliness, but we'll do things for children's groups, or we really like working with PFLAG and the Equality Center. and the Bentonville Follies. I mean,
Yeah.
they've been really great to work with. We like to help them out when they do charity events.
Because don't y'all also put on the drag bingo, or is that a different group? I can't
No,
remember off the top of my head.
that's the Equality Center, but we do help sometimes with the bingo cards,
Okay.
running around.
I was going to say, I thought I remember seeing y'all there during
Yeah,
those, but
sometimes we help with those events because we are an organization that is supplemental to our community, meaning that we aren't out to make the money and make the big events happen. We do like to make some events happen. We like to make events that are needed in our community happen. Let's say the bear contest during Pride. That's one of the things that
is a staple of our community.
I mean, it happens. This will be its third annual run, even though we skipped a year. Yeah, well, I mean, we skipped the COVID year, but we this will be the third one, and we have had an outcry in the past from that community, the bear and the kink community, or the leather community, I guess, really, that they wanted more events so that they could get together and do things, but not many of them are not organizers per se, or the ones of them that are organizers organize maybe smaller things, but they want events where there are more people that feel more free to come to things instead of like a smaller invite kind of crowd.
Yeah.
So we have offered in the past to do some things for them. We really love working for and with the Bears and the Leather Group. They're really, really sweet guys. And we've done some things with PFLAG where we've done some cooking things, and we've shown up to Siloam Pride many years, and we've done background charity stuff for the Bentonville Follies. But I think the one thing that we enjoy the most, or at least I do, and I enjoy that our house does this every year, is Rainbow Thanksgiving. And to be a big part of Rainbow Thanksgiving means a lot to us because we get to give back to our community and feed our community, and it's the one time of year that not everybody's running around and not everybody's religious, but so we don't really love to do the commercial Christmas stuff. I mean, we like to go out, we like to look Christmassy, but we really love the togetherness.
It's not something everybody celebrates.
Yeah, and everybody who likes food or likes America, or whatever whatever the reason, we really love when we get to serve our community food and have togetherness time with them, and that's a big part of the thing that I feel like we enjoy doing every year.
Okay.
But I think we also love one-on-one nunnery. We like to talk to our community and get to know people one-on-one. We like to help them and offer, advice and listen and a warm heart, because all we're really meant to do is to bring love and light to our community. And that's what sistering is all about. No matter where you go, if you run into a sister, they're supposed to bring love and light where they go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you're the right kind of people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some people that need a little light, but they need it swiftly up their keisters.
Well, I think that's a pretty good explanation of the sisterhood.
Thanks.
I definitely learned a few more things than I thought I knew about it just from this. Mm-hmm. So then, to get into another topic, so do you work with PFLAG or the Equality Center? Like by yourself, outside of the sisterhood?
Yeah, outside of the sisterhood, my good friends over at PFLAG, I mean, I love doing anything for or with them because they're sweet folks over there. But really, for I don't volunteer with them. I do, however, volunteer for NWA Equality, and I have for the last 10 years giving HIV tests to the Northwest Arkansas community.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to doing that, how do you go about it, or like where?
Oh, okay. Well, that's easy. So 2 days a week, we do appointment testing at the Equality Center. We're talking about, now that COVID's over, going back to a schedule maybe where we can take some walk-ins or something like that. But right now, we're still doing just appointments. And we offer those on Mondays and Wednesdays, Monday evenings and Wednesday afternoon, morning and afternoon-ish, from like 10 to 2 and then 6 to 8 on Mondays. And then we offer free HIV testing for anybody who needs it. They just go to nwaequality.org and sign up on our website. And then we will show up, give you a test, give you results in 15 minutes.
So when it comes
it's a finger prick.
Okay, so it's just I didn't know if you did the mouth swabs or whatnot.
We used to do the mouth swabs when we first started many years ago. That is what we started with. We did the little mouth swab things, and they were cute and everything.
They don't seem like they would be as effective.
Right. Their efficacy is not as high as the 2-drop blood prick finger test. So it's, I'm not taking a vial of blood. I'm taking 2 drops, just like if you were going to get your blood sugar checked. So it's the same kind of little thing. Just 2 little dots, and then we've got you finished and ready to walk out the door with an answer in 15 minutes.
So it's super easy to get it done then.
Yeah, and it's really easy. It's important to know your status. It's, not hard to get an appointment, and we, accept everybody. So it doesn't matter if you're gay, it doesn't matter if you're straight, you can come in and get a free HIV test. We offer that to the whole community.
And with that, are there any other tests that you give out, or is it just HIV based?
We are working on getting more tests like syphilis. It is very prevalent right now in our community. Unfortunately, we're getting higher cases of syphilis than we've had in the past, and so we really want to broaden our horizons over there. The only issue we're having right now is that the tests that we want to get are not CDC approved necessarily right now. They're working on the FDA and the CDC approval for those, and then we will be able to purchase those. So right now we're still just offering HIV, but as soon as those others are approved, we will hopefully be getting some of those in our office and starting that.
Okay.
So it'll be great.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. I'd like to be able to offer more than just HIV, but right now that's what we got.
Okay. So then, to get into a slightly different world of yours, not really all that much.
Change gears.
Yeah, I want to talk about your drag life and kind of how you got into that, where it's kind of taken you, or how it's kind of changed you.
Woo! It's a conversation.
That's what we're here to
It's a conversation. So the way that happened was actually 10 years ago.
Everything for you started about 10 years ago, didn't it?
It's really kind of funny. It kind of did. I used to work at the Rape Crisis Center, and I was an advocate, and I was on the board there, and I was the board president at the time, and we had somebody who came to us. His name was Arliss Young, and he asked me if I would like to help with this HIV testing program over at the Center for Equality. And I said, well, sure. We needed some free testing for anybody who was assaulted we needed a place where they could go safely, and this would basically bridge those two gaps. And I was already like, in the gay community, but I wasn't necessarily like as active at the Center for Equality as I started to be 10 years ago. And really, it'll be 11 this December, so it's 10 and a half for the HIV testing.
Okay.
And Lady Kakes is 10 years old this month. And so I had worked for the Equality Center for about 6 months, but in reality, I had been friends with Joseph Porter for years, and he was over there on the board of the Equality Center. At the time, he was just on the board instead of the board president now. But he called me up one day when I was at the Rape Crisis Center and I was working, and he said, "Hey, we've got this show that we're going to do, and it's like all females, but they're going to dress in drag, and they're going to, they're going to dance around and do everything just like drag queens." And I was like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, I don't even, what are you talking about?
That's a thing?
That's a thing? Yeah, exactly. That's a thing. And I had to look it up. The only people I could find were like in New York and LA and stuff like that. But I had to like look it up online and even see what it was. And these ladies who were doing this stuff, I mean, they were just wild. They were from two different sides of the country, so I didn't even know.
Oh, so they weren't locals that did it? Okay.
No. But I had lived in New Orleans for 5 years, and I had a lot of wigs. I mean, people knew I had wigs, kind of, and they knew I had like outlandish clothing a little bit because I was from New Orleans, and carnival time, everybody wears wigs.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be 80 degrees outside, and you're going to see hundreds of people walking around New Orleans in some different colored hair and some wild costume, because that's just what they do. And that's what you do when you're local and you live there. That's who you are and what you do. So I had a lot of that stuff when I moved back here, and I decided that I would do this show once Joseph told me what it was and what I was expected to do. I was like, oh yeah, I'll do it. Like, try and stop me now.
Good luck getting me out of this.
Yeah, exactly. And I never thought after that first show that it would ever turn out to be anything more than that first show, because who in Arkansas,
like, oh, that was cute.
Who in Arkansas would let us do this kind of stuff or whatever? And I tell you, those first couple of years were really tough. I mean, I would get a lot of flack in dressing rooms. People would give me a lot of hell about things. But I had
some... From other queens or from different...
Oh, yeah, from other queens. It was like from other queens or other gay men from the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be different people. Like, sometimes it'd be
you're
like...
not a real performer.
Yeah, but you're not a real performer. You're not a real drag queen. You're a real woman. You're this, you're that. But I just kept persisting because it was necessary in order to get spots and shows. I was lucky enough that Taylor would give me chances in her drag race. Like, I would get in the bottom round every time because I was new and I was competing against other queens that had been doing stuff for a few years.
Where did you perform back in the starting days? Because I mean, C4 wasn't around.
C4 wasn't around.
Was it? I don't remember because I'm not old enough to know the places.
I performed at Club Push and Club Kincaid's a lot.
Was Xanadu a thing?
Xanadu was a thing, and I got to perform at Xanadu all of 3 times before it closed. It was one of those places that everybody coveted, one of those spots, and it was real hard. I mean, I had to spotlight one time, and the other time was I was in somebody else's number, and then I got a spotlight, and then one time I got booked. So it was a beginning. It was a start.
Where was Xanadu located at? Was that on Block Street or
that was on Dixon Street? Actually,
okay.
That was the Dixon Street Theater.
Oh, okay.
And Club Push was located on Block Street.
Okay.
And then
is that where Pinpoint is now, or
it is?
Okay.
Downstairs of Club Push is what Pinpoint was, or what Pinpoint is now. That was the downstairs of Club Push.
Okay.
And actually, I was the bartender back then, and a drag queen sometimes. And my bar was the downstairs bar. So when I go to Pinpoint, it's really funny to me because
This used to be my place.
Yeah, this is my bar, except they put some booths here now.
Back out of here, Bo.
Yeah,
I run this now.
I know, I wish. But, I met Bo. Bo was my boss in college because I worked at the radio station. And that's when I met Porter, actually, coincidentally. It was in 2004, 2005.
How old is Porter?
6, and she's ancient. I'm pretty sure she's just
Porter does not look that old.
I know, right?
So weird.
But she's got to be like a crypt keeper or something. I don't know. She's
all the twink powers.
Not as old as me, but getting there.
It's the twink powers coming out.
It's the twink powers coming out. It makes her look young and fresh and vibrant, but in reality, she's in her 30s. You know what I mean?
So
I can't say shit. I'm 40.
I can't say shit. I'm 23. I am still a baby.
You really can't say anything. You have no idea. You got so much to learn.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're having these chats then.
So then with Pride, are you doing anything this year for it?
Hell yeah. What am I not doing? I can't stop fucking moving.
Exactly.
So let's see. The first weekend I did Eureka Live. That was a lot of fun. That bar is crazy. That is a fun, crazy place.
I've never been, so I don't go to Eureka all that much if I can help it.
So Eureka Live is it's an old establishment. They used to help men back in the days of the HIV and AIDS epidemic. They would house people underneath in the bar.
I've heard about this.
Mm-hmm. They would house people underneath in the bar when they were sick, when they got thrown out of their places there in Eureka. Because it was
it's
a really
so weird
religious town.
You don't think about the AIDS epidemic being a thing in Arkansas, like at least for me,
sweetie. AIDS and HIV are still alive, and they are still rampant, and people need to remember that when they're out and they're doing things. I mean, we had a guy just a few years ago who was literally out infecting people for the purpose of just feeling down on himself for contracting it in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's like there are those people who exist in the world and you don't know and you can't trust them. They're psychotic or something, or sociopaths.
But
because they have no, problem not disclosing what's going on with them to their partners, and it's.
But what I meant to
ungodly.
say was just like when you think of the two, you don't think of them together. Like it's just a weird when you say AIDS epidemic and like Eureka Springs, it's not something you'd think you would hear about, because when you hear about it, your brain goes like New York.
You say AIDS epidemic in Arkansas, and I think of the years that I have seen people. I mean, my mom was.
I also was not alive during this, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, my mom was a public health nurse when I was growing up, and this is part of why I am the way I am. Not just living in New Orleans for a couple of years, but I grew up around people who could talk about STDs and STIs and stuff like that. I mean, it was STD back then, but it was STI now. But
I go to the doctor and they still say STD, and I'm
you can say STD. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's what
just
more
like,
people.
Which one is the correct one?
One is an infection. One is a disease. If it's an infection, you can more or less like do something about it.
Yeah.
If it's a disease, it's something that you might live with for a long time. Let's say
I've always
hepatitis
heard,
B or
I've always heard
C.
the STI versus STD is more so a thing to help get rid of the stigma, because an infection seems a lot less stigmatic than
disease.
A disease,
Right.
Like I don't want to.
There is that too.
I don't want to live with the disease, but I can live with an infection, kind of thing. Is how I've always heard it talked about.
And that's true. There is a little bit of. I think that was part of the influx and decision. I mean, I wasn't there at the meeting when they decided on the, but I have had dinner with a lady who named the G-spot.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. So I think people don't understand that HIV in Arkansas can be synonymous in thought, because we have many people who just don't talk about it but are dealing with HIV in this state all the time. And it's unfortunate that they feel like they can't talk about it, or that they feel like disclosing to people would get them alienated from groups or others. I mean, that hurts me and hurts my heart, because part of being a drag nun and part of being a sister is to eradicate sexual stigma. That is our mission. It is to eradicate the stigmas of people having HIV, of being kinky little fuckers, having herpes, or getting chlamydia once, I don't care twice, 3 times, if you've had it 7 times, I am not going to judge you. I'm going to ask you if you would like some condoms, because I'm going to ask everybody if they would like some condoms. It's part of my shtick, is to ask you if you want some condoms. But it has nothing to do with a judgment by me, because I don't care. All I want you to do is to stay healthy in any way that you can. Yeah. So if you are HIV positive, just take your medicine so you can stay healthy. If you are HIV negative, take your PrEP so you can stay HIV negative if you want to. If you have hepatitis, please eat healthy, hydrate, do what you can, take your medicine. If you have a mental illness, take your medicine, drink some water. Literally, all I want you to do is be happy, healthy, and take care of yourself. Like, take your meds, folks. Eat some vegetables from time to time. Don't be afraid to talk about it, anything or whatever. Yeah. There are people out there who will listen, and they will love you no matter what. I am one of those people. I will love you no matter what, and I will listen always.
And even if you're too scared to go to them, there are people who legally aren't allowed to talk about what you do.
There are doctors. There are people who are legally bound not to tell your stuff. Exactly. You can go see a doctor, go see a therapist. That's what they're there for.
We love HIPAA.
I'm bound by HIPAA too. I do testing. So I'm bound by HIPAA. I work at a doctor's office, which is amazing. So I'm bound by HIPAA, and I am not out to share anybody's secrets. I'm not out to spread anything but love and light and joy.
That's kind of a dick move otherwise.
It really is. I'm not out to out anybody. I hopefully haven't, since the dawn of my coming out myself, because I think we all throw a little mistake here or there when we're learning about our own culture, even, because like you said, there are different people, and you learn constantly. I mean, you're 23. We talked about the nuns for a minute, and you're like, I learned more about them now sitting here talking to you. And it's because maybe we haven't ever talked about where we come from as nuns or what we do as nuns before. Just because you just take it in stride when you're out in public and you see them coming and they're jumping around and giving out things, or just standing in a corner talking to somebody and you don't want to interrupt.
Well, so I was going to say, because I only ever really see y'all at C4 most of the time. I don't see y'all out and about a huge amount. I also didn't do a whole lot of pride events or any of those things prior, because I'm just now old enough to where I could really start going to the fun ones. Right.
So now we can start inviting you to all the fun stuff that we do, and you can start throwing down on some friends or some Rainbow Thanksgiving. You can come and schlep some green beans.
Yeah, because I've been to C4's Thanksgiving every year. Yeah. I don't think I've been to y'all's, but.
That's fine.
Next Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It's Thanksgiving. You are supposed to spend time with the people that you love and that you spend time with. And you're a big part of the C4 community. And I am a big part of the C4 community in a way that, I've done drag there for years. And Jamie and I are friends, and they are really good to the sisters, and they're really good to my drag family. And I appreciate that all the time. And I appreciate their staff and the service. And they're always really nice to me there, so I feel a part of the family there as well. I know, not everybody always does, but it doesn't mean that those things can't change.
Yeah.
Those things can change. You can feel comfortable there sometimes. I know that there are times where you run into people you don't like. That's going to happen.
But
unfortunately, we live in a small gay community with one space that feels authentically ours. I mean,
gonna say I think there was one more, but no, not really.
Unfortunately, this town really can't handle more than one. I mean,
Red Light really tried, but Red Light was not the answer.
Well, no, they weren't, and many others have tried. I mean, there are times where people want to, and they have good expectations, but maybe not the understanding of our community because they're not a part of our community. And that's a problem that we see from time to time, is people wanting to profit off of the community, but not really understanding us and not understanding all of the things that come with us. But fortunately, being that Jamie is part of our community, we're fortunate enough that he wants to help people and he wants to do things for others. And so that's really ultimately, people can say what they want to say, but he's a good person that has good intentions of doing good things for our community, and I can't fault him for that.
Yeah.
There are times where we haven't always loved each other, but we grow back to love each other because we both understand that this is what our goals are ultimately.
Yeah. Because I was going to say, I definitely would not be who I am now, or doing great
I wouldn't
in college
be able to do all the
C4.
wonderful things that I'm able to do as Lady Kakes, or the sisters wouldn't have a space to go that is a safe space that is basically a vacuum. Oh yeah, nobody wants to go there, but the vacuum in which is our tiny community, in which they feel safe enough to go. I mean, there are just times where other places, even though they are friendly spaces for us most times of the year, there are times where other spaces can feel or feel like they've been taken over by other communities that make us feel unwelcome. But we always kind of know that C4 is a safe space, and that they always will be. And I think that that's why you see us there a lot, or you see us at other places.
Well, I see
or
all
why
there a lot, 'cause I'm there every weekend.
Well, yeah, and that's the reason why. It's because we go there so that we can be around our community, and it's at night, and we really don't like coming out in the daytime because we melt.
Yeah, especially now. I mean, people without makeup on.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we will come out in the daytime for the bear contest and the pride parade and a couple of things.
This year's going to be rough.
Solemn
this
pride. If it stays as hot as it is, we've done it before, but I hope so. But we'll see.
I'm praying to whoever wants to hear it.
The makeup gods and all of the setting spray in the world, and I'm crossing my fingers and praying to the goddess. Please, with all the setting spray in the world, please.
So when it
keep
comes
my makeup on for just a few hours.
So when it comes to the actual Pride event this year, because we're not doing the festival because of CDC guidelines and whatnot, but
it's because when they put the permits in, this is the problem. It's like everybody's like, well, it's the CDC. It's not. The city has lifted a lot of those restrictions and stuff, but originally when they said that they were going to do this event, this parade, it was going to be done so that people could safely distance themselves up and down the street. They were going to widen the parade route a little bit so that people could stand safely almost 6 feet apart, hopefully. But when the Board of Health came back, or the the city came back and told them things had been lifted, it was just a little too late to try to slam all that into this year. It's a lot of work. They do a lot of work. And so to put together a festival in like a month is not
happening.
No, this bear contest in a month is like
already rough.
is rough, but it's really nice to be able to work with Kingfish. They are a great space that has been very generous and very good to us, and they have allowed some really wild stuff to go on out there. So we appreciate them each year. We are fortunate enough to have this third year with them, and we are going to hopefully be able to turn it out. Do some fun things with our leather and bear community.
Are there any other events going on the 26th outside of the bear competition and the parade? And I know the white party, but that's nighttime.
Yeah, there are several other events. I know that Blake Street in Bentonville is gonna have like free admission, and they're gonna have like LGBTQ themed dance night, maybe some karaoke, I think, and like some cocktails dedicated to maybe donating a little bit of the profit of them to one of the charitable organizations around here. And then I know one of the other events going on that day is Joplin Pride, I think. It's Joplin Pride is also going on the exact same day as Fayetteville Pride. So if you're up in Missouri, or if you're listening from eastern Oklahoma and you're just like, I don't have enough gas.
I don't know what to do.
Well, I don't have enough gas to get to Fayetteville, but I could probably make it over to Joplin. Then head over to Joplin and see those hateful Joplin bitches up there that I love.
Okay. Huh? Is their event big or?
Their event is no, it's not as big as like Fayetteville's. It's a smaller community style event up there on
more like
the
Siloam's
26th. More like a Siloam kind of pride. They have a nice festival and stuff that will be happening in August, but the pageant is happening the 26th, and the pageant's a little bit smaller than their festival. The festival's like Siloam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, but it's a good time. It's fun. You know, I like the smaller, more grassroots type places because it feels
more genuine, more homey.
Yeah, and grassroots, and like the money that we make really is turned around and goes back towards like community efforts rather than commercialized, pride events like the bigger cities and the way ours can get from time to time.
Well, because like now that I'm finally old enough to go out and do stuff, I want to start making it to the larger prides. I would love to go to like Austin's Pride and
that would be fun.
Dallas's Pride. Don't really want to go to New York or LA because that's just a little too gay for me.
No,
and
that's
a lot.
Fun. That's fun.
That just seems like a lot.
You just need a wingman.
Right?
Just need a good wingman or wingwoman. But let me know if you ever want to go to San Francisco, because baby, that is home for this nun.
Oh Lord,
that is home for this nun. I know it. San Francisco, it's got my heart. I went there for the 40th conclave of the sisterhood.
Yeah.
And it was the most, oh my God, the experience was so overwhelmingly enlightening and beautiful that I had emotions every single day of just like absolute joy to the point of getting into tears at times. So it was, but like tears of happiness. Like, I can't believe this moment is happening. It's so beautiful. You just can't, you don't want to lose it. So
I'm working on getting to the point to where I'm actually traveling for stuff, especially because like with my photography and doing videography and working on movies and stuff, I'm just like, hey, let me know and I'll pack a bag and I'm ready to go tomorrow.
you're young, you're whitish, ethnic looking, you should be able to get away with a lot of stuff, like just going places and doing a lot of fun stuff, because men have it a little bit easier traveling wise.
Yeah,
by themselves.
I don't have to worry about walking around at night anywhere.
There's that part, walking around at night, or
walking around in the daytime,
or walking around in the daytime, or just walking around. Sadly, yeah. So it's that'll be beneficial. If I could, tell you anything, just bring snacks and do it as cheaply as possible so you can go as many places, because you're young once and you don't get that shit back.
Yeah.
So you really should do some of the things that you can do while you can. Don't break your bank, don't
break your back,
and don't not have possessions or live a life in one space just so you can travel. That's not a real life either, because if you're just moving constantly, it's no real life. Have a base and then go.
That's what I want to do.
Have a good time and do as much as you can and do it cheap.
I'm really working on moving to Austin.
When you're young, you can do it as cheap. You can sleep on hostel floors, and you can eat McDonald's and not be sick for 2 days afterwards or feel like your whole system just got torn to shreds.
Fair.
Yeah. But when you get older, trust me, these are the things that catch up with you. And you're like, oh my God, and I will not sleep in anywhere that is not a Hampton Inn or better. I cannot. You'll get to there.
So then I wanna open it up to you and see if you have any questions you wanna either ask me or see about us diving in together and an opinion topic type thing.
Yeah. Ultimately, what do you think your audience or the people that, or what questions, given that I have studied sex education and lived around nurses and or doctors most of my upbringing, and have, worked in fields of sexual assault and HIV and domestic violence and all these things, is there anything you want to know that I could offer?
So,
or that could offer your audience?
Yeah, I'm trying to think, just because one, this is my favorite area of topic to talk about, so I know a lot of the stuff, and I took 4 or 5 college courses on it, and
me too.
I'm working on doing more. And as to my audience, it's so interesting because I have like I said, I have about 15 to 20 active listeners an episode. I'm working on getting it bigger, and I can see where they're listening from, but outside of that, I can't really tell who it is. I know that most of them are either Fayetteville or Dallas, Texas, because it's college students listening. I have a couple of people in Australia listening. I have a couple of people in
That's neat.
In Asia, and
I wonder what people from Dallas and Australia want to know about people from Arkansas and sex. From a cisgendered, pansexual drag queen, drag nun, receptionist who I don't know. What do y'all want to know?
So when it comes to the world of sex, if sex in Arkansas, it to me it seems like it's one of those things that isn't talked about enough or as openly.
It wouldn't matter where you're from. It's not talked about enough or openly enough. I mean, and that's maybe not fair to there are certain countries you can go to that they're more open to talk about it. And there are certain countries you can go to and you are less open to talk about it.
That'll kill you.
So, we're lucky in the fact that we have the chance and the ability to do it. But the problem is we have this Protestant prudent like, kind of, mostly we are surrounded by this Protestant, prudent, like, guilt-ridden feeling about sex that makes people clam up and not want to be open and not want to talk about it. And that's part of my job as a nun. That's part of my job even as a drag queen, is to break down those walls, to make people think about it, to make people talk about it, to make people realize that it's okay to think and talk about it, and it's definitely okay to be yourself. You can fly your freak flag. Somebody else will be flying one just like it, I promise. It's like the weirdest thing in the world, but there are fetishes for everything, and you can go down rabbit holes. True. And you can go down rabbit holes and find at least 6 people in one of those chat rooms. I mean, it's like the weirdest thing, but it can be a fetish for, like, you know, rolling around in glitter and then having sex. And people,
I just discovered what felching was, and that was interesting.
Well, that's a whole thing. Yeah, welcome to that world. There are, we could go down so many rabbit holes, but I think that the thing that people need to remember the most, no matter in Arkansas or around the world, in Australia or Dallas or wherever people are listening from, is that honestly, it's fine to talk about it. It is fine to talk about it with people who are open to also talk about it. And that's really, it's finding those people. And if you need help finding people to talk to about whatever it is you're into, you know, besides just Google it, there are
there's a Reddit page for everything.
There's a Reddit page for everything.
Stay away from 4chan.
There's a lot of, you know, stay away from Backpage for that matter. But there's places out there where there's supportive, safe havens where you can talk to people, and maybe it wasn't safe this time. Maybe it was, you know, and that triggers or PTSD, or you can't go back, and I get that too. But there are other places, because like I said, there are 6 people in each one of those. I've never been in one that had less than 6 people. Yeah. So I'm just saying, if there are enough people out there, then there will be another space. You can find it or you can create it. Yeah. Because there wasn't a House of Sisters when I moved here, and I had only met one at Southern Decadence when I lived in New Orleans. But when I found out that they had migrated all the way over to Tulsa, I started my own thing, you know, and we started our own house. I had to find 5 other, you know, souls willing to take the dive with me. Yeah. So I wasn't alone. I just had to find 6 other souls willing to do it with me, or 5 other souls, so that we were 6, and that I did, and they have stuck through. Most of them have stuck through it, and we have gained 4 others and retained them for long periods of time. So I feel like we're an order that's going to stick around and be there for our community for a long time. I know I'm not giving up on my sisterhood. Yeah. At all. And that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, was to create a community or a space in which I can talk about literally anything. Because I mean, hell, the first episode I did was pretty wild. Talked about shoving drumsticks up my ass as a kid, all kinds of shit. Which recently just got experimental. I was definitely experimental growing up. But other than that, I think this has been an extremely informative podcast, super fun one. I've definitely loved getting to talk to you and know you a little bit better through this. Wonderful. One last thing for the listeners, if there's anything you want to plug,
in there. Like, I don't know if
besides the bear contest at Pride this next weekend.
That, or if your sisterhood has a Facebook page or anything like that.
We do. The Abbey of Hillbilly Harlots is on Facebook. We also are on Instagram, I think. Yeah, we're on Instagram as well. And then you can find some of our separate personas, like Sister Willem Grace, Sister Norma Jean, myself, Sister Annie Flack.
Sister Irma Gerd.
Sister Irma Gerd is
that's my favorite name. That's my favorite
I'm not going to say his
Fair.
real name on there, but on here, but because I don't have his permission to. But Sister Irma Gerd is one of our founding sisters and has been with us since the beginning. So she's fabulous. She's wonderful.
One of my favorite names.
Her partner, Sister Karaoke, is the vice president, and we love him. He can sing like an angel. Yeah, we're on Facebook. I'm Lady Kakes as well, so if you ever see me in a show, feel free to come and tip me or tap my titties. And if you ever need some HIV testing, please go to NWAquality.org. Sorry for brain freeze. But NWAquality.org. Sign up for a free HIV test here in Northwest Arkansas on Monday nights is with me, but you can also go see my partner Jamie on Wednesdays. And we will be glad to take any and everybody that wants a free test.
Okay.
Here.
Yep. And then just any last words of advice or words of wisdom before we end?
Yeah, I'm sure your listeners are like, but wait, we didn't get to hear about the thing with the doctor. Yeah. So when I was in college myself and taking some of those courses, I was health education, sex education was my emphasis, and one night we had a dinner at Bordino's because I was cooking there while I was going to school, and Dr. Beverly Whipple, who is the lady that named the Grafenberg spot, came to the U of A to give a speech, and one of the doctors that I worked for invited me to the dinner because I helped get the table. And so I got to sit at the table and have dinner with the lady who named the G-spot.
Did she give you any interesting advice on it, or
no? I barely, I spoke a little bit, but I was so nervous as a young student back then. I mostly just cracked a few jokes, talked about the food and how much I enjoyed her speech and the things that I learned, and left it at that because I had no business speaking over these professors that were having a really nice time, and I was just there as an invite. So I realized what I needed.
I'm just the plus one.
I'm just going to tell you how much I really enjoyed the speech. Thank you for being in the restaurant, which I made most of this, I made most of this bread and some of these desserts. And then thank you for everything that you've done for, I don't know, telling women where it is and what it does. So it was really nice. I'm sure she's, she's out there. If she hasn't passed or anything like that, then I hope she's doing really well because she gave women a whole lot to look up to or look for.
Alrighty, guys. And that was another episode of A Sex Talk with the wonderful and fabulous Patty. We will see you guys next time.